Welcome back. Now that we've engineered our data pipeline from end to end, let's look into how we monitor these pipelines. As part of monitoring, we want to ensure that the pipelines are up and running and in a healthy state, so that our data scientists and the analysts have the data they need to carry out their job. First, let's look at the things we would like to monitor. Azure Data Factory, as you know, is a managed service and it runs on a serverless architecture, so we don't have a log to monitor there. We might want to monitor only simple things, like size of our data factory or the total number of objects we created, etc. Next, we would want to know about the status of our integration runtime. For example, the CPU utilization and the available memory in the integration runtime, etc. Next, we would want to know the status of our trigger runs. Have the triggers been run, whether they succeeded or failed, etc., so that we can go in and fix any issues. And we would also want to know similar information about our pipeline runs and activity runs. In order to do this, we have two options available. The first one is the monitoring capability within the data factory itself, and I hope you guys are familiar with that by now, because we have looked at it a couple of times in the past. Secondly, we have the wired Azure Monitor built into Azure for all Azure resources. Let's have a look at the capabilities of the Data Factory Monitor first. This can be used to monitor the status of pipelines, triggers, and activities within a data factory. We can use this to rerun any failed triggers or pipelines. We can generate alerts from base-level metrics available. For example, we can trigger an email when a pipeline or a trigger fails. There are a couple of limitations with the Data Factory Monitor itself. The first one is that it only provides base-level metrics and logs, and also the pipeline runs are only kept for 45 days, so you cannot look back at a pipeline that ran more than 45 days ago. Now let's have a look at the capabilities of Azure Monitor. With Azure Monitor, we get the ability to route the diagnostic data to other storage solutions, such as storage accounts, log analytics, and even Hub. By doing this, we can keep the logs for as long as we need to, unlike in the data factory where it's only kept for 45 days. Azure Monitor also provides a richer diagnostic data that can be used to identify and establish the problems better. As the data is kept in other storage solutions such as log analytics, we can use custom queries to write complex logic. And also we can use other reporting tools such as Power BI to report our data better, and also in a meaningful way, which is relevant for our requirements. Data Factory monitoring only allows us to monitor one data factory at a time, whereas Azure Monitor allows us to monitor across multiple data factories, which is fundamental and which is key for large organizations, because you wouldn't want to be reporting from one data factory at a time. In that case, you'll have to go into each of the data factories to look at what's happened, whereas you can have one big dashboard which will report across all your data factories. I hope this introduction's given you an idea of what we can do in terms of monitoring within Azure for our data factory pipelines. In the next lesson, we'll look at how to monitor our pipelines and triggers within the data factory monitoring, and then in the following lesson, we'll tackle the Azure Monitor. I'll see you then.